So just really be able to assess how long it took before you were toast. I saw a lot of people at 202 on your last lap. Or so, there was a bunch of people who out there was doing one of these. Yeah, the good old back stretch, right? If we can be fit enough to be able to do that for 15 minutes, doing a 5 or 6 lap race where you're allowed to sit becomes quite easy. I'm going to do just a really quick demonstration of accelerating and decelerating while standing up and where your head should be. I'll start by doing it incorrect. I'll show you the 2 most common ways that people do this the wrong way. And then I'll do it correct. And I'll just do that all kind of riding right here within vision. Hopefully this creates a little bit of a visual for you guys. Did anybody feel like as they'd accelerate out of corners, they were holding on for dear life? Like they were sort of just getting ripped off the back of the bike a little bit? And this is an easier track to do it on because it's flat. There's no elevation. You go to a track that has steep uphills and you try to do the stand-up drill, that gives you a real understanding of, holy cow, this is how far forward my head should be when I'm accelerating. And Cam, I'm gonna talk to the mic, I guess. So, and James, you can talk to the class about what they're looking at. So this is the first incorrect way here. Knees too far forward. Upper body kind of falling back. Crunched into the bike. This is sort of what you looked like on the Suzuki, all crowding the front of the bike here. The next mistake we would see is the person that gets their feet right, but then, whoa, they're the person that just falls off the back of the bike every time they go to accelerate. And if you're gonna get whiskey throttle, that's exactly how it happens when the head comes back. So what it should look like is anytime you accelerate, you're leading with the head. Leading with the head. And to practice this, you almost can just sort of like fall forward and catch yourself. Just to create an understanding, because the alternative, if we're not doing that, we're the guy that's doing this. And as soon as that starts to happen, there's no coming back from it. So you just have to really over-exaggerate, head forward. That make sense, sort of? One of the first things, the first class that we did with Jet Lawrence, actually the first class that he ever guest instructed, he used this example. James, you want to hold this bike? Yeah. He said, when you go to walk or you go to jog, what do? What goes first? Your head. It's subtle, but your head leads. If you go to jog, you're leading with the head. The head leads. We are not walking and jogging like this, right? But a lot of people ride the dirt bike that way, where it's like, did a ghost twist your throttle? Like, who's twisting your throttle? Because it's as if you didn't expect it. And then your head ends up, even if it's subtle the way that you do it, where it doesn't look totally goofy, but I can tell, you accelerate and the head does this. Just an inch or two. And what that tells me is it puts the weight into your arms. If you watch Reed, Wyndham, McGrath, the guys in the 90s that really started riding head forward, I mean, I'm sure it started to happen a little bit before then as well, but at least the guys that I grew up trying to emulate and look like would have been Wyndham and McGrath, the 2 big ones. Heads super far forward all the time, right? You guys see people who are really good in the whoops. Who are some of the best whoop riders in Supercross of all time? Who comes to mind? Who? Stewart, Roxon, Reed, Davey Millsaps. You can go on and on and on. And what's the common theme? You take a picture of them halfway through the whoops and their head's all the way forward, right? The guys who are struggling in the whoops are always the guys that are extending the elbows and driving their heads back out of fear. Whether it's fear that's causing you to fall off the back of the bike or just not understanding where that head should be upon acceleration, it's an issue either way. Does that kind of make sense, right? And that will really make sense as well when we do the one-handed drill today. Because you'll have to be in the right spot or you'll just flop off the bike. Any questions at all? Anything feel really good or really awkward and bad when we did that? Yeah.
Weight on your feet, like going around corners and stuff like that, I could feel the difference what way I was pushing.
Oh, big time. And could you even see it as I was turning around tight all right here? let me create another quick visual, because what we're gonna do now is we're gonna talk cornering position and where we sit on the seat when we corner. The way I teach cornering is to strip everything away, which means that the first few times we'll hit a corner, it's stand up only. And the reason for that is it's the easiest way to hit a corner, because the lower body can do all the work and manipulate the bike and lean the bike underneath you, and the upper body doesn't have to really move at all. It's also easier, I think, when you're standing to shift the weight as we're doing the little slalom kind of game, left, right, to the outside foot peg. Right, so even as I go trial style right here, I make a tight turn right here, look at what leans. Bike leans, super easy. That's much harder to do. If I had to make this tight turn sitting down, it's a heck of a lot harder than when I'm standing. And you can give this bike freedom to just do whatever it needs to do. And that's the same thing when we go to work corners, stand. Let the bike work underneath you a little bit, and then you can add some pieces to the puzzle. Then you can start sitting. Then we can start braking aggressively on the entry. I think too many people are like, oh, AJ, I can't find a flow through a corner, or I can't hit ruts. It's because their step one is, let's use the clutch. Let's use the front and rear brake. Let's put our foot out for the corner. Let's sit right at the beginning of the corner. They're adding in 8 extra things to overcomplicate. Hopefully, if you can take anything away from today at my class, it's simplification of riding. When I demonstrate, when James demonstrates, it should look easy, because we're not doing that much. When you watch Jet and Hunter or Chase Sexton, what's the common theme? Looks easy, right? It's because they are following the step-by-step process that we've created here, which is so great, and there's not much to it. Don't watch a Tomac and try to be like him. Don't watch a Barsha and try to be like him. You know why? Because that's 1 in a million. You can't replicate that. Tomac's an absolute beast. Barsha, absolute beast. But that is not, they're doing a lot of unorthodox things. They're adding a lot of things to that equation that's very hard to replicate. You watch a Chase Sexton or a Jet, very mechanical, very by the book. Each step of that you guys can replicate at your own pace, very easily.